What's happening, everyone? Welcome back one more week to, how do they call this? Hardened Scales for Arcbound Workers, learning to be an Arcbound Ravager. We are on the play and we are playing against the Lack Baron. Okay, strange name. So yeah, in this series, if you don't know, basically if you're new to the channel, what I do is I focus on developing and talking specifically about my own plays, not so much about the strategy, not so much about sideboard, and not so much about my opponent's plays, but rather trying to explain every single interaction that I'm using in my playing. And yeah, trying to show that basically to explain how all the nitty-gritty things work. And maybe I should do this before the match actually starts, but whatever. We're keeping this hand, and the reason we're keeping is we have two lands. We have a strong turn 1 play and animation module. We have Steel Overseer, which is really good on the play when you're on the play. Turn 2 Steel Overseer is really strong because if they don't have a way to deal with it, then you can take over the game, and it's not so hard that it does. So we're just gonna start with a forest and an animation module. We have 2 ancient cities, which is not ideal, but we can use them later. Another option would have been 2 ancient scenes for a land, but I guess we can wait. That's a horizon canopy. Are we facing the dreaded they're called dead boggles again? At least they didn't have a boggle. So I'm just gonna start with the Steel Overseer. If they have Path to Exile, they automatically ramp us. If they don't have Path to Exile, then we basically can take over the game next turn, which would be good. So that's the okay, mate. It's a humans. Is it humans? Humans with no 1-drop. I guess that's Telia, Guardian of Tharvin. Gonna suck a bit for our opponent. So yeah, as I said, Steel Overseer can take over the game fairly easily. Here we find even another land, so that's extra good. So we're gonna play the land. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna play the Walking Ballista, make a servo with the counter that comes in with the Ballista, and then tap the Steel Overseer to give counters to both the Ballista and the servo, and shoot down the Talia. So basically we'll gain card advantage and we'll start establishing a board versus this deck, which, you know, like humans is not very good at dealing with Steel Overseer actually. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play the Walking Ballista. And the reason I'm playing the Walking Ballista instead of Hangarback Walker is the Walking Ballista can ping down this Talia. Right, so we play the Walking Ballista. I always say always yield to this, so we will make a servo. And now we're gonna pump the team, let's say, with Steel Overseer. We're gonna say no, no, and no, and then we're gonna shoot down this stuff. Now, maybe it's actually maybe misplayed there. I should have probably waited until their turn to shoot it. So, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because it probably will attack with the Talia. So. That's fine. I think that's a fine play. Yeah, next turn, that's probably Freebooter or Kudro. Yeah, that's a Freebooter. So they will take one of the ancient strings, but we can easily kill this Freebooter later on with the Ballista. So, not spring. That's a Darksteel. That's another land. That's really great. I mean, we could try to ancient things for a Ravager, for example. I don't think that's even needed. What we can do, play Darksteel Citadel, play Hangarback Walker, then we'll make a servo the same way we made a servo before. And the reason I'm playing the Hangarback Walker before activating Steel Overseer is because I want an extra counter on the Hangarback Walker. So we're gonna make a servo, and I want an extra counter on the servo, right? Then we will, yeah, basically attack. I should not have tapped like this. I should have left the green open. But yeah, this we're gonna attack with the Walking Ballista and the servo. And if they try to block, we're just gonna pump. And if not, we're also gonna pump. So, but it maybe can bait some opponents on bad blocks. Then we will pump the team again, and we'll get like a million animation model triggers. Say yes to the first one. No. No. Say no until the end of turn. No. No. Okay. We basically pass the turn. So next turn we can use these ancient strings to look for a Ravager that basically will guarantee the win. But yeah, you can see Steel Overseer on the play is just one of the best cards we have. But yeah, this is very simple, right? You want to have as many constructs as possible, many artifacts as possible on the battlefield before you activate Steel Overseer. And this way you can basically, you can basically take more advantage of it. Now we have a bunch of 2/2s. And this is without scales, just imagine. And of course, animation module with the Steel Overseer is a phenomenal combination. If you're wondering why we don't play more Steel Overseers, I think that's what's it called? The Reflector Mage could do some work here. It could get rid. Not much. Stallion Lieutenant, that's fine. Take 1 point of damage. That's Meddling Mage. So now they will choose something. They probably choose Arcbound Ravager at this point. So now they've chosen Hardened Scales of all the cards. So I'm gonna shoot this down before it becomes bigger, the Thalia's Lieutenant. That is something you can do. But you can respond to the trigger to the Thalia's Lieutenant by shooting it down, and then they don't get a 2/2. Basically, they have an army of 2/2s. I don't think they're attacking with that, so no Hardened Scales for us. Use Meddling Mage. Okay, now I think it's a good time to use these Ancient Strings. You can see Ancient Strings much better turn 3, 4, 5. I don't recommend starting turn 1 with Ancient Strings if you have another play. So we start with the Ancient Strings. Then we find a Ballista, find an Ozolith. I think I really like the other Ballista because we can actually play for 2. Do I want this other Ballista or do I want an Ozolith? There's really no need to get an Ozolith. I'm just gonna get the Walking Ballista. I'll say any order. Play the other Forest. And the reason I'm not tapping it for 4 is that because I want to make servos, basically. And you know, servos, we are going much wider than them, so it's kind of hard for them to block. So again, same thing. I play first, then I make 1 servo, right? Then basically I'm gonna tag with everything, I think. Everything, but even this servo, I think it's fine. Because if they block this, so let's say they block here, then we can actually shoot down the Sky Freebooter and get the Ancient Strings back, which again, that means I should not have tapped the Forest, but I'm apparently not good at learning. So yeah, we just attack with these guys. If they don't block, we pump and they take a ton of damage. And probably they're even dead. A lot of servos making. And they go see. So basically, pretty simple game, all based on Steel Overseer and just sequencing our cards correctly. So animation model, Steel Overseer, the constructs. Any other order wouldn't be not so good. It really helped that they didn't have a turn 1 play, so no Nova Hierarch, no Ether Vial, but they are already mulligan. So. And yeah, very simple, right? You just play Steel Overseer, you maximize the amount of constructs you have, and then you tap it. So the amount of creatures you have, and then you tap it to get the maximum value, you know, and eventually you get this ever-growing army of 4/4s, 3/3s, and yeah, very little the humans can attack. So onto the sideboard. I'm not going to talk much about this, but basically bringing in the creature removal. Welding Jar doesn't do anything against them, so we take it out. Throne of Geth is really good against Ether Vial, so we're going to keep it in. On the draw, I don't really love Steel Overseer. And I like cutting an Ozolith because this is kind of a faster matchup. I also Scrapyard Recombiner, so I kind of cut the slower cards. I don't think the Ozolith is particularly slow, but what happens is that if you like they don't have much removal, so Ozolith is only really like a second Hardened Scales, and they will not have a lot of artifact removal for it, so they will never kill it. So most likely we'll sit in our hand doing nothing. Yeah, Throne of Geth is really good against Ether Vial. Torpor is really good against the whole deck because it stops all their enter the battlefield triggers. And yeah, Dismember in general, really good against. They probably have Collector Roof. That's what you want to save your Dismember for. But that's, I talked about this on my sideboard guide. So now it's our time where we don't have a turn 1 play, and they're mulliganing. But I think this hand is really good because we can Mimic into Hangarback, and then the next turn we can Ravager and pump the Hangarback, right? So there's a turn 2 Mimic Hangarback, turn 3 Ravager pump. It gives us a lot of blockers if we need them. Or, you know, if we draw like a Hardened Scales or an Ozolith, it gives us like a new avenue to win. So I'm going to keep this hand. And they're already in the mulligan, so I feel already we are not in a bad spot. And we can still, like, because we are on the draw, we could be drawing like a turn 1 play. Right? That'll be really good. So they start with the sign cleaning, and this time around they have Ether Vial. Just, you know, what you should expect against humans most of the time. We're rewarded, so we get the Hardened Scales. That's amazing. So we play the Hardened Scales turn 1. That doesn't mean we have 1, because they can have a very explosive stars that are human. They can go like Meddling Mage into Freebooter, like Freebooter into Meddling Mage, something like this, and then we hard pressed them. But it's funny that they have this. If they've had this land, it shows me that maybe they don't have a second one. Well, they do, but I guess they didn't have a land that could produce mana for. So let's see what they play. That looks a lot like Meddling Mage. I guess they will name Walking Ballista. Yeah, that's what they do. So we don't have it. That's kind of nice. That's a Dismember, so that's great because we can Dismember this later on if we draw the Ballista, or we can Dismember a Collector Roof. So we're going to play Darksteel Citadel, play the Metallic Mimic. Name Construct with it. So what Metallic Mimic does is, when it enters the battlefield, you need to choose a creature type, and it will become that creature type in addition to being a Shapeshifter. And then whenever a creature of that kind comes in, of that type comes into the battlefield, it comes in with an extra +1/+1 counter on it. And because of the Hangarback Walker, because we can cast it for x equals 0, it will actually enter with a 1/1 counter on it. So that's the beauty of it. So you will see here, I will select Construct, and then I can just cast the Hangarback Walker for x equals 0, so I pay no mana for it. And when it enters battlefield, it has 2 counters. So 1 counter given to the Metallic Mimic, and 1 counter thanks to the Hardened Scales. It doesn't happen the same if you play the Hangarback Walker for 0 when you have Hardened Scales, because Hardened Scales only adds an extra counter when already a counter will be put on. So it's not that every creature that enters the battlefield gets a counter like you saw on the Metallic Mimic. So yeah, from here we're just gonna pass the turn, not much we can do. Versus is a bit risky. I mean, I guess there's either Champion of the Parish or Noble Hierarch. Good. Doors are being closed. I mean, yeah, as I said, they can still do lots of things. They can, but I like having the Arcbound Ravager down as soon as possible, hopefully. I have 3 cards in hand. So my plan for next turn is either to hold on the Dismember. Good thing about Collector Roof is that it stops their own Ether Vial, so sometimes people are not even playing it anymore. Yeah, another interaction that you may see in this matchup is that they use the Putty of Detention. Okay. Mana. I'm gonna take, if they attack with this, I'm gonna take it. They're not gonna attack. I wonder what they could have. Okay, that's a second Ravager. That's. I'm gonna play Darksteel Citadel. Doesn't make sense. Always leave the, have the Darksteel Citadel first. I'm gonna play the Ravager. And just pass the turn. I'm holding on mana here, not doing anything with my mana. So the reason I'm doing this is I can pump this at any time, give it a 2 extra counter and sacrifice it to make a bunch of top tiers. That's generally an avenue to win, especially with the second Ravager. So they playing, okay, they just draw a card. That's not the end of the world for us. We consider dismembering this Noble Hierarch, but I mean, it's better to save it. So they didn't draw to drop or less, so you would have played it. Okay, they kept it at 2. Interestingly, that's something to note. They didn't put it. They probably have a 3-drop and a 2-drop they want to play this turn. We can always Dismember. So that's a Horizon Canopy they just drew. So that's probably why they didn't want to. Yeah. They didn't want to put this up. So I'm just gonna make I think at this point I can start getting aggressive fairly confidently. So I'm gonna sacrifice the Hangarback Walker and make some doctors. This view. Only interaction they could have is either Dismember or Ether Bile. So that's another land. So we are gonna start by playing the other Arcbound Ravager. We do place there, and then we're just gonna start attacking with this Arcbound Ravager, and almost with everything. The only instant speed is like yeah, that's not much they can bring. We just start getting aggressive here, bringing some pressure. You don't want to give humans like a million hours. I'm not gonna sacrifice it. I mean, I could actually just sacrifice. So they are. This is 4. This could be 8 damage. Next 8, 10, 14. So I think since we have lots of lands available, I'm just gonna do this. I could have gone all in there and killed them, but they could have interaction, right? So pretty sure what they will do is stop the Noble Heart. They didn't even draw. Wow. They didn't do anything with the mana. I think we're getting a bit lucky here. They didn't put this up again. We have 4 Topters that fly, an 8/8 Ravager that we can sacrifice to the other Ravager, a Dismember that can kill their stuff. So I'm feeling in a really... Did I play a line this time? Oh yeah, I did. 0 lands in a row. I feel like I could have done something with the Reflector Mage, Phantasmal Image. I don't know. I don't understand. They had the mana to cast this. They never did. I don't understand why this wouldn't be a... Yeah, you draw a lot of lands, but first you could have... If you had lands in the end step, they could have sacrificed this and drawn an extra card, and they could have played this indeed. I really don't see the point of playing you. That's a good attitude. Anyway, that is a video. Bit of a shorter one, but I mean, I guess easier to learn from. Just to recap a little bit, maybe in general, what we did there was a bit different. Metallic Mimic, you can cast, you can name construct. You also name these, so you can name. So I'll explain a bit Metallic Mimic. So we focus on one thing. You know, learning one thing at a time is always easier, better. Metallic Mimic has multiple uses in the deck. First use is to come in saying construct, so it's kind of an accelerant. You say construct, and then you can play basically Walking Ballista or Hangarback Walker for X equals 0, and they come in with 1 counter. If you have Hardened Scales, they come in with 2 counters. And we, of course, are pretty lucky to do Hardened Scales this game, but we put it in our deck for a reason, right? That's number 1 use, and that's the most common use, and the use you will normally start the game with because it's where it allows you to establish a battlefield. Second use is to name Beast, for example, and that will mean that Ravager will come in with an extra counter on, and if you have Gem Razor, it also will come in with an extra. Not so common, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes you have 2 Ravagers and a Metallic Mimic. Okay, that's kind of a Hardened Scales. You know what I mean? It's sort of like a Hardened Scales for the creature types. Then another usage you can have is with servos. You name servo with Metallic Mimic, you can name servo, and every time you make a servo with animation module, it will come in with a counter on, which in time will trigger animation module again. So basically it allows you to basically make as many servos with a 1/1 counter on as you have mana. So that's really powerful interaction in the late game, especially when you have 5-6 mana, you do a Metallic Mimic, and you have an animation module. If you manage to somehow trigger the animation module 1, then you can just keep making those servos and just have a ton of basically make an army of servos. Then there is another usage of it, which is you can name also Topter. So when your Hangarback Walker dies or sacrificed, then the Topters will come in to the battlefield with this extra +1/+1 on. So that's a kind of a finishing move sometimes. You imagine this situation as we had before. We had named Topter with the Metallic Mimic. We sacrifice, and then all of a sudden we have 4 T3 flyers that basically will win the game. That's kind of like the final thing with Metallic Mimic. And also like a last kind of interaction is that if you have 2 Metallic Mimics, the first one say you name construct, and then the second one comes in and you also name construct. That Metallic Mimic, the second one you've just put into the battlefield, will come in with an extra +1/+1 counter. A fine kind of interaction. But you can make easily a 3/2 or a 4/3, or even bigger if you have multiple Hardened Scales. So it becomes quite a sizable threat pretty fair. Yeah, that is the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like this kind of content. I really try my best to explain every single thing I'm doing, and if I'm missing something, please let me know down below. Let me know if this is something you enjoy, and I will keep making this. I think these are actually enjoyable for me to make as well. So yeah, I'll see you there in the next. Oh yeah, and yeah, by the way, if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. And we are almost 200 subscribers, and maybe when I release this video, we are already 200 subscribers, which is super. A lot of people watching. And a lot of people have commented like, yeah, I really want to build Hardened Scales from watching your videos, which is really awesome. That really gives me hope, you know, I hope Wizards thinks of me when they are paying out their dividends. Yeah, that is the video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.